Hi. You know what that music means, right? Law of attraction. That music, law of attraction. When you hear that music, your mind should be flooded with your desires, your vision, your wildest dreams. Is that what's happening? I hope so. Hi, Dawn. Oh, wait. Yeah, it's LOA time is correct. So look, all sorts of fun. Hi, Kathy. All sorts of fun new technology is in play today. We're going to be playing with some of it. In some ways, you're a guinea pig. But guinea pigs are so cute. You should be happy to be a guinea pig. You could be worse. What if I said, I'm trying some new things today. You all are my armadillos. See, probably not so much of a compliment. Look, I'm just chit-chatting a little bit, to let people get here. Hopefully, reminders are being sent out hither and yon. Hi, Steve. With using all sorts of technology. We're here at the ocean today because why not? Because it matches my shirt, basically. We were going to be in the rainforest. But then I was like, nope, I'm wearing blue. Hi, Nori. Hi, Jill. Nice to have you here. Does everybody have something to drink? A little something? Hi, Marianne. And Kyle is here. Awesome. Christiana, great, awesome, terrific, wonderful. So today we're going to be doing what we do here when we do Law of Attraction Q&A, and it has been a while. And so, first of all, any confusion about the time today, totally my fault. I had scheduled this yesterday for 11 a.m. Pacific. Everything I wrote about it, the emails I sent, everything said 11 a.m. Pacific. But I scheduled it on my laptop that I had with me in Atlanta, which was set for Eastern Time. And so when I scheduled it scheduled it for 8. And I was sitting here getting ready for hours later this morning, and it said, hey, you've got a show scheduled for 20 minutes from now. So I had to change that. So if there was any confusion over that, I humbly apologize. You may dock $5 from my pay. Hi, Paul. Okay, so I'm glad you're here too, Kyle. So here's what we do. You ask Law of Attraction questions, and I answer them. That's why it's called Q&A. Not too complicated. But sometimes I bring a theme to the party, and today is one of those days. And it's I think it's pretty freaking important theme. I think it's a theme that most people overlook. That's one of the things that I've always done in this Law of Attraction conversation. It says, what are people overlooking? Like resistance, for example. Or the importance of your vision. These are all things that people, I don't feel stressed enough. And I've talked about vision over and over. If you watch these Law of Attraction Q&As for any amount of time, and do you know there are a lot of them? There are a lot of them. If you're interested in catching up, well, you can look at the video section of this page, the Bob Doyle Show page. If you're watching this on any other page besides the Bob Doyle Show page, I would invite you to pop on over there so that your comments can be seen, because that's the only place I'm checking comments. Hi, Jerry. And Tommy. Awesome. The gang is all here. So that's the place I'm checking comments. So I would see your comments later if you're checking on any other page besides the Bob Doyle Show page. So just click through to this page and be commenting there, and then that'll be awesome. So, and that's the only way I'll see your questions as well. So if you have Law of Attraction questions, pardon me, that's where you would ask them. So in and amongst all this, I want to deliver my message, my sermon, if you will. My message. What's Bob's message today? Sometimes there's not much of a message when you tune into my show. I know that. It's part of my charm. You never know what you're going to get unless I tell you what you're going to get, and today I'm telling you. So we can just start off with, I guess if you don't have any questions right off the bat, you can be thinking of questions as they relate to this topic. But here's what I want to talk about. Now, the Law of Attraction is really all about creating a life you love, right? Well, the way that we use it. You all know that I teach the Law of Attraction is not just this personal development tool that we use and turn on and off and make work. It's always working. It's not a development tool. It's a principle of physics that is always happening and defines how this universe of energy is coming together to form our experience of reality in terms of being a human. And the Law of Attraction is learning, or the study of the Law of Attraction is learning, well, how do we take what we know about all of this physics and the science and the coolness and leverage the fact that we too are energy and connected to all of this to create an experience of reality that we absolutely love, right? That's what we're all about. I'm Matthew in London. You can't hear me. We'll try to leave and rejoin. Now see, I should have a little placard here that says someone type to Matthew to leave and rejoin, because that's what'll fix it. I should have a little video a graphic that pops up, because what good is me telling him to leave and rejoin if he can't hear me? Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? See, that's the kind of logic. This is the kind of brilliance. Hi, Lynn. Lynn's in the next room. She XO'd me right in front of everybody. Am I blushing? So the law of attraction is, it is, and it's always working. So our work, what we do when we all hang out together and answer law of attraction questions, or when you're reading a book or watching a movie about the law of attraction, like, I don't know, The Secret, perhaps you've heard of it. I have to chat about that in just 1 second. It's about how do we learn this stuff? And unfortunately, a lot of us have gotten this idea that it's this paradigm of turning it on, making it work. It's always on. It's always working. So trying to flip some sort of law of attraction switch is not the approach. The approach is how do we move into energetic alignment with what we want, so that all this amazing quantum physics comes together and creates an experience of reality that says, yeah, baby, this is exactly it. It's hitting me on all cylinders. It feels great. It's unlimited. It is true abundance and happiness with no compromise. That's what we have the ability to do. That's what we were born to do. And so, but what's happened is this configuration of energy that we call our body and our mind and our brain. It's very flexible. It's very programmable. That's part of the beauty. That's why we can do these things. That's why we have this truly unlimited ability to create, because we are so flexible. We can make a decision and that can become our reality. But if we make unconscious decisions, or these decisions are made for us and we don't know that's happening, then our reality, our perception of reality and what's possible for us is all shaped by that unconsciously. And so now we have a distorted sense of reality that says it's limited. Only those people can be abundant, only those people can be happy, only these people can find love, all of that stuff. We learn all of that, and it literally shapes how we will experience this ocean of energy that we call the universe. But we have the ability to change that at any time. As long as we have the ability to use our consciousness intentionally and think and direct our thoughts and create a vision, we can change our reality. But it's not as simple as a lot of people make it think. Like you just put up a vision board and boom, it happens. There's a lot that needs to happen energetically. We are very complex beings. Am I right? Hi, Try the Law of Attraction with Dr. Steve G. Jones, Dr. Joe. Well, I'm glad you're here. Denise is here and she's vibing, so hi. Great. Kyle. Awesome shirt. It's okay. So we bought this shirt 2 days ago, right before we went and saw Hamilton. All right, one moment. But here's the thing. If I say, oh, you can change your reality at any time, it sounds too good to be true. I know. I get it. And because we're all skeptical, we've all learned what we've learned about how things must be to get from A to B, but it's not necessarily true. And so the most important thing in working with the law of attraction is to know exactly what you want and to create a vision of that so that you can tune into it and tune into the feelings that vision will give you, and that's what changes your vibration, this signal that we're sending to the universe that is basically saying, here is what is. Here is what is. That's what we're always saying. Here is what is. Here is what is. Even if we're thinking about the future or we're thinking about the past, we're bringing that experience of the future and the past into our present, which is the only way we can do it. Things only happen now. So even though we might be building a vision board and doing law of attraction work, if we're still fretting, if we're still bringing the experience of what we worry about in the past or fear for the future, all that, that's the signal that we're sending. So people get confused. They go, well, I'm doing this law of attraction work. Why isn't it working? It's working. but you're sending mixed signals. And a lot of times that comes because people just do not take the time to create a vision that is 100% what they want, instead of creating something that they think will solve their current problems. Does everybody get that distinction? If you focus on working with the law of attraction to fix a problem, you're not thinking in unlimited ways. You're not moving into, who am I really? What life could I really have? You're going, how can I put out these fires? And that has a much different vibration. And you're attracting more fires when you sit in that vibration. So the vision is what's important. And if you don't want these elements in your vision, just don't put them there. Don't think about them. Don't consider them. You know, it's not like you create a vision and go, well, in this vision, I don't have debt, because then you're focused on the debt and the feeling with it. Instead, you're feeling, in this vision, I have unlimited resources. It's totally different. It's a totally different vibration. Okay. So anyway, knowing what your vision is, of course, is the most important thing. And for a lot of people, if they're slow to get results, it's because their vision isn't really their vision. Now, this is kind of a review. This is just part one. This is like I've said this a million times, but I want to lay this groundwork, and it's really important. And if some of you haven't clicked into your vision yet, and it doesn't give you the juice that you want, then guess what? It's time to evolve it, because if you want to see results with the law of attraction, you have to send a clear signal. And ideally, it's a signal of, this is exactly what I want. It brings me joy. It brings me happiness. It is filled with abundance and health and all of those things that you want. And it's not littered with, because I've got all these problems over here, because I haven't had health, because I haven't had this, because I get that that's how we think as humans, but that's because we've been trained to focus on our problems and solve our problems, and we won't be happy unless we don't have these problems. But we don't have to be that way. We do not have to be that way. We have the ability to just change our thoughts and give no energy to past events. We have that ability, but it's more difficult now because we're so wired to think that that's not appropriate, like somehow it's appropriate to be ruled by the past. Nothing wrong with learning lessons from the past. It's how we evolve. But you say thank you and you move on. Okay, I just want to make sure everybody's getting this part of it before I move on. The mitochondria are doing a happy dance right now, even without music. See, that's what we do here. Well, thank you. Multiple comments on the shirt. Yes. Law of attraction working all the time. And this is a big distinction that a lot of people don't get. And I see you guys, you're like the elite. You know this stuff. This is just a review for you guys. But some people who watch this will be new, or they haven't really gotten it. Yeah, I still get messages all the time. How the law of attraction isn't working for me. Oh, yes, it is. 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 If I say it one more time, will you get it? Yes, it is. What's not working for you is the communication that you're sending saying, here's what is, here's what is, here's what is, here's what is. That's what we're doing all the time. Here's what is. We don't work with, here's what's going to be. Guys, time is an illusion anyway. Did you get that memo? So this whole thing about like us projecting stuff into the future, it's only happening now. So if you want a future filled with things that you don't have right now, you need to bring that future into the present, because that's the only thing that the universe is responding to. Is everybody getting this? Hi, Sarah. Nice to have you here. I just really want, because this is just the groundwork. This is just the groundwork. And nobody's even asked a question yet. How about that? I know you're waiting. That's good. It's probably good. Jill says, this is like an anchor bringing me back to my early days working with your teachings, Bob. Thank you. Blessed as always to be here. Unplanned, but as it should be. Well, I'm happy that you made the time, Jill, to be here. Look, this kind of review is something we can all benefit from, every single one of us, because we all, I don't care who you are, how long you've been studying it, we can all get drawn in by the circumstances around us. We're living surrounded by a bunch of unconscious people who are all not present. And we live in a world that is so distracted. For us to be present in that world, it's particularly challenging, but not impossible. But the thing is that the discomfort that we feel as we rewire ourselves into a different way of being is the hardest part of this, because that's where all the resistance lies. All the voices come up that say you can't do this, and a lot of those voices live in your ego. And so, because here's where now I'm gonna ease into the next tier, because you can have your vision. And Sarah and anybody who's done coaching with me knows what I'm about to say. And now I'm going to be talking on a different level. You can look at all the stuff you have, the circumstances out there, the spouse and the money and the cars and the stuff and the whatever, all that out there. But the most important piece of it is you. Who are you being? That's different than who you're being now. Because I absolutely promise you, you have to be different. You have to be at your core, energetically different than you are now to attract something different. That's just plain. Better, worse. Your vibration has to change. And that comes from who you're being. And your being encompasses everything. How you interpret things, how you take action on things. Who are you being? And there's this concept of being your true self, and like I've been told, that I'm not living my true self. Like there's somebody else out in me that wants to come out. And we're going to talk about all that in just a second. This is a real personal thing. But for me, it's like, I think, we have our soul, we have an essence, but who we get to be, we get to choose that. I don't think it's set in stone. I don't think it's preordained. I think the joy of this ride is we get to be whoever we want. And we may have this core essence that drives, that makes this journey unique to us, right? Creativity, certain gifts, whatever they are, to make that journey unique. But who we're going to be in all of that, we get to choose that. We may have certain personality inclinations based on our DNA. It could be the experience of who we grew up with, our family and all that. But we still have the ability to change it. But when we do, it can be uncomfortable. Let me just check in with you. Hi, Natty is here. And Steve read this recently. If you want to change, you need to change your daily routine. Who you're being affects your daily routine, right? It's the essence of who you are. Like who I am, Bob Doyle right now, has a certain routine. And it all plays into the complexities of who I am. Oh, first I have to get coffee. That's who Bob Doyle is. First I have to get coffee, and then I can't rush into, like I've got this whole set of rules about how I do my day, just like Steve said. And they feed off of each other. So my behavior reinforces the conversation I have with myself about who I am. So changing the behavior, if you know that you want to be a little bit differently, then you need to start behaving more like that future version of yourself. Kind of getting ahead. The point is this. In your vision, who you're being has got to be super clear, because who you be, there's all that external stuff that you're going to attract, right? Like eventually you're going to eventually get the car, you're eventually all that stuff, and the time you get that is all based on your levels of resistance and divine timing, basically. What is given, this is your vision and how you want to feel, the universe will deliver it as efficiently as you will allow it. But part of speeding that process up is being the person who has already received it. Does that make sense? Did you catch that? Do I need to repeat it? You need to be the person now who has already received all of that stuff, because then you're in alignment. So it speeds up the process. But if you insist on being who you've been being, but yet you do all the other stuff, the attraction process stuff, it's still not going to mesh. Because there's a part of who you're being that is resisting that right now. And so if you're saying, well, no, but I have to, this is just who I am, and it's limiting you, that's something to look at. Because seriously, I just want you to think for a second. Because I've got a list 1.5 miles long. How many things about yourself where you say, well, that's just who I am, feels limiting? Can you come up with 2 or 3 things that you might say, well, I just don't do that. That's just not who I am. And it doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel expansive. I'll give you my example. Well, I've got a zillion of them, but one right off the bat is dancing. Okay, make no secret that I'm not, I don't enjoy dancing. It's just not who I am. 1,000,000 years I've hidden behind that, right? It's just not who I am. But when I say that, dancing is a little different. But when I say that, does it feel good to say, like, I tell this story all the time, but I was in Mexico years ago. It was the first time I met Marcy Shimoff, also from The Secret. And we had spoken, and some attendee came up and asked me to dance. They got the whole dance floor thing, and I'm so in my head about dancing that I said no, which is ridiculous. This woman was probably thought a few times about going up to the speaker and asking them to dance, and then for me to say no, well, but all my stuff came up. So see, but for me to say, well, that's just who I am, is that what I want to claim forever? So I'm asking you to look at your, well, that's just who I am's that are limiting you, and inviting you to look at, well, how might my life be different if I got rid of that story? Hi, Belinda, it's good. Tiffany, it's no problem. Depending on who you ask, I was 3 hours late. Oh boy, so now I'm getting called out for the dancing. See, I do well, whatever. I'm not going to have the whole dancing conversation right now. That would be a huge sidetrack. But there are lots of things like that in my life. So as I look at my future, and look, I'm just going to be real transparent. I know she won't mind, but Lynn Rose is my partner in life. And Lynn, if you know anything about her, in terms of how we be out in the world, there's a lot of just absolutely opposite, right? She's just way out there, and I'm pretty much not. I have my ways of getting out there. I do the Bob Doyle show, and I get all crazy and all that stuff, and I love doing that. That's who I am. Right, but there's a lot of the other stuff. And so, but it doesn't feel necessarily great to hang on to that, well, that's just not who I am. It doesn't feel great. But when I think about the alternative of like, well, what would Bob Doyle be like if he was out there like Lynn? What if he was fearless and would pick up a microphone and start singing in the middle of a crowd somewhere or whatever? Does that seem fun? It seems terrifying, but it seems fun, right? Like, why wouldn't that seem fun to be fearless, to be ready and willing to express yourself at any moment for anybody, regardless of how they respond? So it's all clearly about, well, what will people think, right? So it exposes your own stuff and you hide behind, but that's just who I am. Am I preaching to anybody out there? I really just want to know, is anybody getting this? Can anybody go, yeah, I've got my vision, or I'm working on it, and I'm clear, I need to be somebody else to be in that vision. But that that version of me seems a little scary. And here's the thing. It's going to seem scary because your ego is going to fight you with all it's got. Because here's the deal. Your ego, right? Your identity, who you are, right? It's all wrapped up in that ego. So as soon as you start saying, I'm going to fundamentally change who I am, who I'm going to be out in the world, holy moly, you're basically putting a gun to your ego's head and saying, you're out of here, dude. And he's going to fight for his life. Does this make sense? Your ego knows you so well. It knows exactly what to say to stop you from changing the essence of who you are, whether or not you think or know on a conscious level, on a subconscious level, on a spiritual level, that this is the better version of you. This is the most abundant, the happiest, whatever, joyful. It's right over there. But your ego's going, you can't do that. That's not who you are. If you start doing that, people are going to laugh at you. They're going to whatever. They're going to say, the ego's going to say the things that is going to scare you out of doing it. It is absolutely fighting for its life with everything it's got. Everything it's got, because that's its job. So everything that comes to your mind that sounds, is reasonable or logical, it's going to sound absolutely dead on. Absolutely, unarguably correct. You're right. That's not who I am. They will laugh at me. All of those things. Because your ego knows exactly what to do it. But you have to rise above that. You have to be, you're conscious. The essence of can go above the ego. You can observe the ego. You can transcend it. And see, whoa, look at what's at play here. None of what he's saying is true, or we don't know. Or, so what? They laugh at you. But you win because you get to express yourself exuberantly. You don't have to play small anymore. You get to actually start going out and living something that you absolutely love. Yeah, terrifying. So it's this balancing act. Am I going to step through this terrifying fear and try on this way of being that seems way more in alignment with this vision that I'm creating, full of abundance and joy and happiness and fun and play and, peace, whatever else your core values are? Or am I going to worry about what might happen? You don't know. You don't know. And then just settle for this. And your ego's going to say, what? It's fine. It's fine. This is fine. You've done this your whole life. It's fine. You don't need all that other stuff, like to be happy. Anyone? Let's see. Denise says, because of this very teaching, I was able to teach a workshop on stage at my company's sales conference last month, and the class was full. Ladies and gentlemen, Denise. See? Denise has been in several of our coaching groups. Could that be a foreshadow? And then we got praise for Lynn. And Lynn says she still gets terrified sometimes when it's time to go on stage. I've seen that happen. We all get that stuff. I think for the most part, this fear of being something else it's almost always going to be about playing a bigger game. So everything, all of your stuff about anything that you might believe about you're not good enough, who are you to, other people do it better, all of that stuff, it's all going to come up because, again, your ego is throwing everything it has at you. But if you can work through that and truly start being this person that you see yourself at being in the future, then I'm telling you, the whole manifestation thing just speeds up because the universe says, they're already there. You're not on this. See, we get it in our head. We think so linearly. I'm starting this law of attraction journey. I'm here. Results are way over there. So here we go on this journey. That's linear, human. I get it. And it is how we teach things. That's how I do. Got to start step A, 1, 2, 3 to be able to move people. But that's not what's truly universally necessary. It's a decision. And all this teaching and all of these things, everything that I do, it's all about helping you to make a decision, to make a choice for your life that is empowering to you. And to do that, sometimes we have to untangle a lot of things. And so that's where the education about, well, what is this law of attraction? Is it real? Is it goofy? What is it? What is this? And then what is resistance? And what is your intuition? And so, so me and other people who teach this stuff have organized various programs and courses and whatever to help you get from wherever your brain is on all of this stuff to where it needs to be, hopefully, so that you can first create that vision. Because without that, if you can't create that vision and all you're doing is trying to use the law of attraction to solve all your problems, you are not going to get the results you want. And even if things do change somewhat, you're still not going to have that feeling that you want. Why? Because all you've been putting out is feelings of worry, fear, panic, problem solve. So you're just going to attract more of it. And when you really understand what the law of attraction is, you'll know that. Not just understand it on an intellectual level. Not just say, yes, I can recite that back, or yes, that makes sense, but you'll know it. And when you know it, it changes everything. So that is why I do what I do. Is to try to, because I'm telling you, I know that most people use the law of attraction to solve their problems. I know it. Because that's the questions I get all the time. But when you focus on that, and then also they're creating this vision, but they don't work on the vision of themselves. What they're expecting is that their whole universe will change around them, and they don't have to change. Nope. Ugh. Reached lukewarm status. Not my favorite. Okay, I did see a couple of questions go by. So Steve has a question, and I saw another one up there, and I'm going to see if I can scroll back up to it. When things go right, it is important to know what steps we took to manifest those results. Sometimes I don't know what I did right. Well, Steve, because relatively early in this whole process. I mean, I know you've known about the law of attraction for a long time, but let's just talk years-wise, your whole life. Still relatively early. So it may be important to know what steps you took. It just depends on how your mind works. Like if you can, if you journal everything you do, or if you're making video, whatever. If you're tracking your results and you can go back and say, I did this, that's great if that works for your brain. But it's really, you're always doing this in the present. You don't have to analyze and think about what did I do, and then make it an intellectual process. But if it helps you, then until it becomes totally natural, then sure, if you want to kind of look back and go, okay, well, I did this, but then that will require a lot of attention, because you can look at the big steps. Okay, today I did, a vision board, or I took action in this area. But if you're also not tracking, and then for like 20 minutes, I just went down this spiral of worry and anxiety, because all of that factors in. And then what did you do about that? So I'm just saying it could be helpful, but it may or may not give you the data you're looking for. Xavier is here. Well, Kathy says no video, but I see video. Anybody else not seeing video? Just refresh. I think everything's working. Everybody else see video? All right, so let me see if I can scroll up to this other question here. I saw it. Hold on. There's from Kyle. My question: I find that I can quite easily appreciate others, and sometimes I feel that it is not easy for me to appreciate myself. And even though I cannot tell you how many praises from others I've been receiving, I don't feel that it is or should be my source of confidence to self-expression. I feel that sometimes, I know I'm reading through this very quickly, but I hope you all are listening, because I'm sure this applies to a lot of people. I feel that sometimes my energies are diverted. At some level I know I'm divine, so is everyone, and I have limitless power. And at some level I don't believe in myself. I'm looking forward to a breakthrough, a tipping point. I would definitely be very thankful for your input. Well, okay, so you can tap into that feeling of total confidence, right? And then there's something that says, oh, but I need to balance that. It could be some values about, I don't know, arrogance or ego, or thinking too much of yourself, or making yourself better than others, or whatever. I would need to know more about your value system, because all these, there's such subtle things that go into beliefs about this, like why you don't feel like you deserve to receive. There's big ways it could be obvious, like somebody told you that, or there's something else going on that it would be a lot harder to point to. Okay, so, but just know though that if you have the ability to ever tap into that confidence, then you can do it at any time, and then that's the goal. You just want to balance out the scale. Kyle, are you working with any, release technique like, EFT or any of that stuff? Because that would be that would be a helpful thing to help you kind of tilt the scales. Let me just, because I haven't said anything about this at this point, up to this point, but we do have this group coaching program that we've been doing for, it's coming up on a year. And before that, I've been doing group coaching things since 2008. It started with the Balanced Living Challenge, and that was, at one point that was 14,000 people. That's a crazy big group coaching. But since then, smaller groups, but mostly 30-day type programs, and and the ones we've been doing the past year have been particularly effective. And so one of the things that, a decision I made quite some time ago is to not do one-on-one coaching anymore, for a variety of reasons. But the biggest reason I'm finding retroactively is because I truly believe that the group coaching is way more effective, even than when I'm giving you my personal attention for much more money. Right? I mean, just honestly, one-on-one coaching with me was not inexpensive. But group coaching is inexpensive. And what I'm finding is that, with one-on-one coaching, it was like we'd have our weekly meetings and some email in between. But in the group coaching, I'm there every day. And you have direct access to me to ask the questions and so on. And you've got the community. Anyway, so we've been doing those. But at the end of the 30 days, there's almost this thank you for, I don't know who pinned that for me, maybe Dawn. But anyway, thank you for pinning that for me. I'll get back to that question in just a moment. But the ability basically to get feedback on an ongoing basis as you're going through this journey is huge. But also, I was finding at the end of the 30 days there was a huge group of that number of the group who was like, I want more. I need more. What do we do after the 30 days? Oh my God, is the group going to go away? I just need more support. Which, sure, I mean, that makes sense. So the whole idea of the first 30 days was to create momentum. Right, and that's what we did, and if you talk to anybody who's done the group coaching, they'll vouch for what I'm saying. That it's a super unbelievably deep, powerful experience that you will, no matter what you're expecting, you're going to get something more powerful. I absolutely promise you, and you're not going to want it to end at the end of 30 days. So what I have decided to try, at least for this next round, is to do 90 days. That's right, 90 days. So I'm not ready to, enrollment is not quite open yet. Honestly, it's because we're building the webpage. That's the real reason. We just have to put a webpage. So you can hear from all the people who've done this stuff before. You know what a webpage is. I'd love it if I could just say, look, just trust me, go do it. And I could say it's $8 zillion and you'd still do it, but it's not. And we wouldn't need a webpage. But I know people like web pages. Well, let me just see what I'm getting one more time. So we're doing that. It'll be done soon. Denise is on it. Not Denise, Dawn. Denise is in already. Look at that. I haven't even told her the price yet. Anyway, it's a great deal for coaching, and I'll talk more about it when I actually launch it. But if you want information about it, like if you want to be notified when we open it up, which will probably be in the next few days, you can type group info. You could type group info, but that's not going to get you what you want. Type group info into the comments. But don't type it in quotes. Sorry, just type group info without the quotes. And hopefully it'll work for you. This is new. Okay. But in any case, even if you don't get the information you want right away, then I'll look through it later and see if you did. But anyway, that's the way to do it. See, look at Dawn. She's soliciting testimonials from people during a broadcast. Okay, so Bob, I'm not sure how to pronounce the name. Amr. Oh no! Right as I was about to read it, you pinned a different one. Anyway, I think it was about, does the law of attraction work anywhere on Earth? Yeah, there it is. Like Iraq, Afghanistan, India, USA. Of course. It's everywhere in the universe. See, this is the thing. We have to take this out of the law of attraction having anything to do particularly with humanity and how humanity uses it. Like, it wasn't put here for us to create our desires. That's not what the purpose of it is. Not the way I talk about it. It's about taking this ocean of energy that is the universe and assembling it in a way that we're experiencing. Why does this atom go with this one? Why does energy attract this way and create dirt and rock and diamond and the elements, whatever, right? All of that information, that's all what the law of attraction is. And so we're just learning, okay, well, given what we know about it, how can we play? How can we swim in this pool with intention? So it works everywhere. But all those places that you're talking about, and especially if there's like bad stuff going on, or it seems like they're just running they're running their program. They're using the exact same principle to create their experience of reality. They're all in a group agreement. There's energy running there. That's just how it works. So yeah, it's working everywhere. And if you want if you want an area to change, then the consciousness in that area needs to change. Another question, how can anyone use the law of attraction or thoughts to influence minds to be more and learn more? I'm a photographer. I want to be a cinema photographer, but I lose motivation sometimes to give more into my craft. So what we need to look at is why you're losing motivation. Okay? Obviously, if you're really clear, I want to be a cinematographer. That's who I am. That's who you say you're going to be. Then any thought that would make you lose motivation is simply your ego, exactly like what I was saying before, using what it knows about you to stop you from changing and playing a bigger game, because that's uncomfortable, and your ego is there to keep you comfortable. So again, it's about moving into observation mode and going, I see that pattern going into play. Like when you have that lack of motivation, that's a trigger for you. That's a trigger for you to suddenly get conscious and go, wait a minute, no, I know I want this. So if I'm feeling this is a lie that the ego is telling me. What is it telling me? Oh, you'll never get there. Why do you try? Or even if you get there, you won't be as good as, or whatever it's telling you. But that's what you need to look at. And that's those voices, whatever it's telling you, that's the areas of resistance that you want to be working on. And if you don't know about that resistance and eliminate, then come into the group coaching. We talk you through the whole thing. The group coaching is all about starting you from wherever you are, getting you super clear on your vision, and that's an ongoing thing. That's not like okay, now take 15 minutes and write down your vision. Hell no. We're sometimes working on the vision for some people for the entire 30 days, because you have to have that starting point or you're wasting your time. So with 90 days, we got even more time to do that. So we get you clear on your vision, and then we address all the noise that comes up in our heads as we step into being this new way with release techniques and so on. We learn about intuition, we learn about relationships and how things are going to change with other people, and about inspired action, because this is all about massive action, you guys. Gabriel should do a testimonial. I haven't heard from Gabriel in a while. But I see him posting. Seems to be doing great. He was another one of our past participants. So Steve has been in the group, and Denise, obviously. I'm just looking at who was in here, and I'm seeing that I've missed some. Is the video playing for everybody else? Because Matthew also said that it stopped playing, but I think he would have told me. Anyway. Okay, how opportunities are not the same. So you're telling me that USA and Somalia, Europe are the same. I'm saying that the universe, look, what's different between that is the systems of human structure of systems. Human. The differences between the USA and Somalia, these are all governmental, cultural, all this, not universal. So no matter where you are, you're still made of energy, and you still have the same. Is it going to be harder? And will it maybe not going to happen for some people because of the wiring or the environment or being, whatever? Maybe. But look, here's the thing about your question, and this is a question that I get asked all the time, and I've got a whole video about it, and it's basically asking about, well, what about what happens over here? What about what happens over there? We want... Before we will claim the law of attraction as truth for ourselves, we have to understand why it doesn't seem to be working for other people. Guess what? You may not ever know that. No matter what you know about another person, another whatever they say, we still can't know what's happening at a true vibrational level for people. We can't know that. So we can only speculate why things are happening to another person. And if you're going to throw out the whole conversation because you don't understand why this child was born with an illness or why this person was gunned down for no apparent reason, if understanding how that all went into alignment is your prerequisite to getting results in your life with the law of attraction, you're going to have a very frustrating journey, because we're not here to understand. It's not our place to understand why things are happening for other people. We're here to have our experience. And the more attention and focus we give to all of those bad things that are happening out there, the more they're going to show up in our space. And it's going to taint our experience of reality. Now, I could go on and on about that whole thing because, some people, it is part of their path to be exposed to these situations because they are the ones destined to do something about it. To be inspired and moved into some sort of inspired action to make a difference because they're looking at what they perceive to be this injustice and they go do something. They start a foundation. They get out there. They get their hands dirty. They do whatever. But then there's another whole group of people who just look at it and bitch about it. No intention of doing anything about it. They just look at it and they go, well, if that's happening, how can I be happy? How can I? Then clearly this law of attraction. That serves nobody. It doesn't serve the people that you're feeling bad for. It certainly doesn't serve you, and all you're doing is creating another stronger vibration around you of, oh, the world's crap, it's all going to hell. No one can get what they want. There's tragedy everywhere. If that is your ongoing conversation, how can you possibly expect to attract a life of happiness and so on, and joy and freedom and, if you're not called to do something about it and be part of that? If that's your mission, then awesome, go do that. Put focus on it and make a difference and change the planet for good. Everybody wants you to do that. But to sit there and put your life on hold so that you can analyze what's going wrong with the world is not appropriate. But we've learned that it is. We've learned that it is. We call it compassion or empathy or whatever. I'm feeling so bad for these people. Really, what are you doing about it? Well, I'm feeling bad about it. Dun 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 dun. Okay. All right, what's happening here? Let's catch up. I'm a joke. Make jokes about everything, especially me, but it makes me feel angry. Why is it hard for me to control it? Makes me feel anger, so around me everything feels down. So I know my husband loves to make jokes about everything, and special to me because it makes me angry. I'm not sure I'm understanding the question exactly, but it is about how you choose to perceive it. That's a tough one. See, that's why we spend so much time on relationship in the group coaching, because it's huge. And that's another thing that people don't really think about too much, is the impact that taking on a life that you absolutely love and claiming your vision, which you may not have done your whole life, is going to have an impact on the relationships with people around you, whether they're your spouse, they're your immediate family, the people you work with, the people that you meet when you're walking down the street. They're the people that you meet each day. Anyone? These are the people in your neighborhood. Sesame Street. Come on now. Okay. Hi, Charlotte. Okay, so where was I? Something about coaching? No. So we're having some conversation around love. Love is the main energy. Yeah, so, yeah, that's a big one. Because when you really tune into what love is, when you can really do that and feel it in your heart and feel the expansion, it's way more than just about, the relationship with someone you're attracted to, or even your family or any of that. That's in there. But love itself is, you could call it the glue. But it's very confusing. It's like you tell people, well, love is everything, and if they don't have They got no concept of that except that love means, oh, I love my family, I love this person, I love my dog, right? That level of love is one thing, but when you talk about love being the glue that holds the universe together, it's like, what does that mean? Does that mean I have to have like lovey feelings like I have for my dog or for my other people to, people who are doing, it's different. It's not the right word. That's the problem. Gratitude, love, and peace. Who couldn't use more of that? Or those? So my challenge to all of you who are really serious about the law of attraction, and I hope that's you. If you're watching this, I hope that, I've been doing this for a long time, 15 years. And, and what I realize is that the sad, if you want to call it that, fact is that a very large percentage of people who come into this law of attraction conversation, take a course or buy a program, they're tire kickers. Let's see if this works. And the reason that happens is, people aren't patient, that's one thing, or they might buy a program or read a book that is incomplete and they try their little 1, 2, 3 step process that doesn't address resistance, doesn't address who you're being, doesn't address really what intuition is or any of this really key stuff, and then they go, well, it doesn't work, throw it out. I posted about this the other day that Rhonda Byrne, who created The Secret, has got a Hollywood deal to do a movie adaptation of The Secret, which I know was a movie already, starring Katie Holmes. So, obviously it's a fictionalized thing, and I posted that the other day, and the reactions I got were really interesting, and then I had my own, my own response to it. But, it has been 10 or 11 years since The Secret came out originally, and, it's completely possible that there's going to be people who watch this movie whenever it comes out, because Katie Holmes is in it or whatever, and whoever else the other stars is. And they may know that it was based on something that they may or may not have seen. So if the movie is done well, and it's good and it's well received, well, it could bring a whole new, resurgent to attention to the law of attraction and The Secret and the whole thing. But with that comes this other thing, this other piece, which is what happened last time when The Secret came out. People, I'd been doing this for 3 or 4 years or whatever already when The Secret came out. And of course The Secret came out, and then everybody and their grandmother put out a law of attraction program. $7, $17, $20, everything you need to know. So people jumped on it, and a lot of money was made, but not many results were had, because it isn't magic. It's science, and if you're struggling with it, there's reasons to learn it, because that's what's going to change the inner workings of how you process this whole thing. If you're dubious and skeptical or think it's magical thinking, and you try any of this stuff, guess what? It's probably not going to work, because you're thinking, this is magical, this is goofy, this is what am I doing? That right there is resistance to prevent it from happening. So you've got to get the foundation. So what I see as a possibility of happening is the movie comes out, and then we have the same thing again. This glut of, the real secret, the secret behind the secret of the secret's secret. And then, and then the whole world gets jaded. Oh, that law of attraction thing's a money-making whatever. I started this because I had this passion for this, of how this, of understanding how this changed my life, and that's when the Wealth Beyond Reason program began back in 2002. And then The Secret happened. It was a whole different landscape out there. And then so a lot of the stuff just got buried or whatever. And so, I'm not wanting that to happen again. What I'm hoping is that, if I'm trying to be very proactive with the message that, yes, it's a very exciting concept. It's very exciting. It means you get to really create a life you absolutely love, filled with whatever you want in it. But learn it correctly. Don't just go, oh, $17. The reason that my program isn't $17 is because it's years now of information. A day, of collecting information and hours of stuff and so much work. And, it's what I do for a living is putting this together, right? So, and It's super freaking complete. And so this group coaching program that I do is a way for me to take all of that information and 15 years of knowledge and say, now let's put it to work. Let's actually do this. Not learn it, not memorize it, not be able to regurgitate it to somebody else, not be able to argue it or debate it or any of that other stuff that I don't want anybody doing anyway. And let's take a look at our life and make it happen. Let's make it let's make magic here. Let's start with who I'm being, my vision, all of these things. And in 90 days, that's a long time. You know, it may seem like too long, or it may seem like not long enough, but I promise you, with 90 days of showing up every week and doing these, it's a lot of live Q&A, it's a lot of live coaching, it's hot seat coaching, it's personal attention. More than any of my one-on-one clients have gotten, and Charlotte can attest to this because she's been my one-on-one client before, and she's been in the coaching group, and I know she knows she gets more attention and more support in a group environment than she could get from me personally. And with the group, you've got all these other points of view, all this other set of experience, all of this other level of accountability. I've been there. I've been through this. You know, I'm struggling. Can somebody help me? You know, Bob says it this way. Can somebody else say it a different way? And as a result, you know, it's this super safe, private, open, you know, it becomes a family. Denise and anybody, Steve, can attest to, on the other side of this 30 days, what we did before. Can you imagine 90 days, this family you've created? This is not a bunch of strangers who you kind of casually go, oh yeah, I remember you, sort of. No. If you're a person who's going through this law of attraction journey by yourself and don't have a support system that is absolutely 100% behind you and will support you in your ups and downs and the whole thing, I'm telling you, it's the best investment of anything you can make to get that kind of support system, because this work is not necessarily easy all the time, especially when your ego's screaming at you, you can't be anything different than who you are. That's not who you are. And you've got now a whole group of people saying, oh my God, yes, it's totally who you are. That's who you want to be. So Louise says, how do I stay positive when stress gets me down? So Louise, again, it depends on the nature of the stress, on what technique or what conversation needs to change with you about it. Because if it's stress about money, you want to work on your money issues. If it's stress about time, you want to work on your time issues. If it's stress about relationships, you want to work on your relationship issue, or the resistance you have around it by taking on, you know, a release technique or something like that, or getting clear on your vision of how given this, that this is the situation that causes the stress, what's a version of my reality that does not include this? Like, can you create a vision based on the information you're getting that you don't like right now that's stressing you out? Can you create a vision that is the opposite of that, or that can give you that sense of expansion and connection to something different, something better, so that you can feel, even just for a moment, a positive feeling? Because that's what we really need to do, is shift our attention into this really positive, empowering thing, and know that sometimes it's going to be really challenging with the ego screaming at you like, you're not a positive person. Being positive isn't cool. Smiling's not cool. Dancing sure isn't cool. Right? And stop feeding your ego. It's is right. And we do it. You know, so I'll just take a step back. You know, I had this level of epiphany for myself during my week in Atlanta. Jory, who sometimes pops on here, pointed out that it could be because I had a grandbaby, and sometimes you just get epiphanies when you become a grandparent. So whatever it was, I really looked at myself and said, you know, I've been teaching this being thing for a while now, but hadn't really applied it to myself. But then I was, let's just say, I did, all of a sudden. And so the whole conversation became a different level of applicable to me personally, and like looking at, well, what areas like dancing and whatever, would it maybe be more fun if I wasn't like this about, well, that's just who I am, or am not, or that's just not me. And so I can tell you for sure that when we start this 90 days, which will probably be sometime mid to late September, by the way, I participate along with everybody else. I bring my stuff to the table as well. And a big part of my journey is going to be like, you know, now that I'm kind of giving myself to be different. and put aside that conversation around, well, that's just not who you are, is to take a more observational look at, okay, well, this is the conversation I've been having, Bob Doyle has been having about who it's safe or okay to be out there. What if that's true? What if that is something I'd like to change? And what might it look like if I changed it? And that's going to be super challenging work for me. I know this because I've already started the work, and it's super challenging because the ego is screaming. Screaming. So see, we'll all get a chance to work together and support one another. You, me, you, all of us together. I wish I could send you to the enrollment page right now, but I can't. But in the next couple of days I will. So if you want some information on that sent to you as soon as it happens, just type group info without the quotes in the comments, and hopefully that's working. Steve says it right here. Anyone who commits to 90 days will see a major shift in their life, and he knows that because he committed 30 days and saw a major shift in his life. I'm just looking, see if there's anything else that I want to say. Anybody have any other just general law of attraction questions before I've been going an hour. Well, I don't know how long I've been going. What time is it? It's, I've been going an hour. Exactly. Wow, I looked at the clock right at an hour. Jill, that's very nice of you to say. So, Linda and Cheryl, will you just do me a favor and just confirm to me that you got a message when you wrote group info? Just say, yeah, I got it. Xavier says, no, it's not working. Well, if it's not working, that's okay. I'll get it to you anyway. But it's supposed to be working. Anyway, new technology, I'll get it figured. I did one test, it worked. Did another test, didn't work. So who knows? But Xavier says it's not working. No love from Linda either. Okay. Well, it should be showing up in your messenger. So if it's not working, I'll go figure out why. It's okay. All right. Well, look, you guys. If as always, whenever I do these things, you can always post questions right here in the comments, and I'll get notified and I'll see them. In the meantime, I'll go figure out this group thing, and I'll make sure that you guys get the information when it happens. Yeah, they should be getting it in their messenger message area. So if you're not getting it there, so Lynn, did it work for you? Lynn tried another one earlier and it worked. Okay. Kathy says she has problems with love. Well, yep, that's a big one. Self-love absolutely has to be sort of number one there. Okay, well, here is the music that says that I'm going to tune out now. I'm going to figure out the group info thing. I'll get it to you. I believe you all that it's not working. It's okay. I don't blame you. I blame society. So thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for all of that. Thanks for the support you've given me and the program. And if you're a Bob Doyle Show fan, watcher, person, I love you especially. And I'd love to see you in the group coaching program at some point. But I'm going to be doing more of these Law of Attraction live Q&As. So just watch this space.